This documentary is about mangroves, one of the most unique and ecologically significant plants on the planet. Mangroves are greatly unique because they are highly saline or salt tolerant and grow in salty water. They are ecologically important because they are nursery grounds and breeding sites for birds, fish, reptiles and mammals, as well as a shelter for smaller animals from large predators. In addition to that, where mangroves grow, it is an accumulation site for sediments, carbon and nutrients. Mangroves also provide protection against coastal erosion. Mangroves are found mainly along coastlines as well as estuaries, swamps and wetlands. They are found in tropical as well as subtropical regions. 1/4 of tropical coastlines is occupied by mangroves, 30% of Australia's coastline. They cover 15.5 million hectares worldwide. There is about 27 genera and 70 species, 30 of which are found here in Australia. They grow from mean sea level to the highest spring tide. They do flowering to attract pollination, and their leaves are waxy and wet. They are swamp builders. Mangroves stabilise coastlines, prevent erosion, and increase sediment accretion. Zonation for various types of mangroves is determined by soil type, salinity levels, chemistry, tolerance, nutrient content. They have no growth rings and a rapid rate of canopy production. They play a major role in primary production and fix a lot of carbon. That means that the more mangroves there are, the less carbon that is in our atmosphere. They are well adapted for anaerobic conditions, high methane, sulfur contents. Most trees would not cope well. When lacking oxygen, they get their oxygen through aerial roots known as pneumatophores, which act as a snorkel for gas exchange. Crab burrows help as well. Mangroves have several methods of coping with the high levels of salt. Some, such as Rhizophora species, have roots that exclude 90% of sodium ion or salt and chlorine. Besides exclusion, another method is secretion. In the Avicennia species, leaf glands secrete salt and the crystals accumulate. Salt accumulates in old leaves or bark and is later shed. Other species are osmotically active and have compatible solutes in cytoplasm. Stems, aerial roots act as baffles and slow currents and promote further sedimentation. Horizontal rhizomes and fine roots bind and stabilise sediments. Many mangroves disperse via floating seedlings as dispersal, or vivipary. Seeds germinate on the tree when not subject to saline environment, so they're very well adapted. They live amongst detritus-based food webs. Mangrove trees and bacteria dominate biomass. Carbon drives structure and function. Nitrogen fixation is significant on detritus, decomposing leaves and root surfaces. Crabs are a keystone species. They retain, recycle nutrients in soils, bury and eat 70% of fallen leaves, and help with seed distribution. Mangroves are the most productive plants in the ocean by area and fix more carbon than they need. Mangroves are the home to over 250 bird species, as well as bats, gastropods, crustaceans, and crocodiles, as well as pelagic fish who find it as a nursery and a refuge from other fish and predators, and it's important for juveniles and adult fish. There are, however, serious threats to the mangroves. 1/3 of the areas that they occupy have been lost over the last 50 years, especially in southern Africa, Southeast Asia, mainly for timber as fuel, conversion to agriculture, shrimp farming, rice crops, palm oil, mining, and industrialisation, as well as other factors. Degradation has also occurred with tree removal, which adds carbon. Aquaculture leads to eutrophication, that is, feeding shrimp and fish. Pollutants block lenticels on aerial roots, and trees die, as does oil. Extreme weather kills mangroves. Deforestation and aquaculture are the two worst threats.